Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 201, and today we're going to be doing Battle with Aurelion Sol Ramp. And so this is a deck, if you're familiar with the channel, you should be familiar with this one. This is what we hit in Masters with last season, and I'm just a really big fan of the deck. I really love playing it, even after the nerfs. And so if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, last season with like the 3.16 patch or so, Riot decided that the RNG baked into Targon's Peak was a little bit too much. It's a card they want to be casual, and it was becoming too good for Constructed, so they went and nerfed it up to 6 mana. Now, as the times change, as things go on, I'm curious how that same person at Riot feels about the meta right now. If we want to take a peek at the Ezreal Seraphine list hanging out at the right, where you have Seraphine creating a random card, Back Alley Bar creating the Barkeep, who creates a random card. You can scroll your way down to Suttering Spong Spinner, creating 3 random cards. You go to Ambitious Cultist, creating random cards, and Fan Club President, manifesting random cards. I don't know what you followed with all those words I just said out of my mouth, but apparently the RNG is alive and well, and it's more than capable of being out there, as long as it's not the Targon's Peak variety. And so go ahead and generate all the 2-cost spells that you want, but if you want to make your 10-cost spell cost 0, you're not allowed to do that anymore. But all rants aside, I don't expect to have a ton of success with this deck today, at least success in terms of win rate, but we should have a lot of success in terms of fun. The meta right now is not really well suited for this style of deck. The Vayne decks are just quite strong against what we're trying to do. We've never really been able to put a strong matchup against these kind of really resilient low-to-the-ground decks, and then it doesn't play into this kind of, well, I'm going to shut you down with Blighted Ravine style play patterns. But we've at least tuned our deck a little bit with these things in mind. We've gone very heavy with the Flash Freezes today. We're going to be playing 3 copies of Harsh Winds, 2 copies of Flash Freeze, and 3 copies of Three Sisters. We've cut back just a little bit on the AoE, only playing 3 Blighted Ravines and 1 Avalanche, knowing that the width isn't really the problem. It's the height. It's the units going tall that are going to be causing us problems out of the Vayne deck. And so we're trying our best to at least slow down their game plan with the Flash Freezes. It's not that strong to be making rando attacks and tumble attacks and everything if your dude has 0 power. Otherwise, I always described this as having the punch. I like to go with these concepts within the Zoe Aurelion Sol deck as to where we have a lot of really high-powered stuff. So we're playing the full 3 copies of She Who Wanders, the full 3 copies of It That Stares, along with the full 3 copies of Field of Rush. This was something that was kind of necessary in the previous metas, as to where if you played a big 12-cost Field of Rush and your opponent denied it, the game was probably just over. But if we played a She Who Wanders or an It That Stares, we were able to still keep the unit on the board, even though the AoE ability got removed. But I'm still expecting all of these units to be pretty reasonable. I don't expect to play against Denies today, but I do like having this big, high-powered collection of cards in our deck, so when we do spike the peak, we have a better chance of just hitting one of these big expensives. And so that's the deck. That's what we'll be doing battle with today. No reason to pay the pay-to-win price. It's already been paid. Let me tell you, we've paid it with this one, and so I'm on board and ready to go. I even noticed in a random prismatic chest I opened up this week, I picked up the She Who Wanders, and I was like, that's the stuff. That's what life's all about right there. All right, so let's see how it goes. I'm not opposed to hanging onto Buried in the Ice here, just to make sure that we have one of these big plays to clear out our opponent's board. I'm not quite sure what to expect out of Nami Varus. It should have some tall elements to it with the Varus, but you're also going to have the width elements coming at you from the Nami, and so it was typically card like Buried in the Ice wasn't that good against Nami. They could just basically win the game with 2 units on the board. But I'm not really. I'm a little suspicious of what opponent's going to be bringing at us, and so I think we'll hang on to the Buried in Ice just in case. All right, we'll get these Zoe attacks in. A lot of times you don't want to be pushing in with the Zoe. since she messes with your Targon's Peaks, a lot of times you'll find yourself being like, well, we're not going to have a Feel the Rush today, so I'm just going to play Zoe and not attack. But without the Targon's Peak in hand, I don't feel like that's a real necessity here. Oh. Got this necessity, though. Got the cat showing up. It says, what up, everybody? It's been a few days since I've been on the internet. Says, I'm glad to be here. All right. Sure thing. Not a lot going on. We could look to bank up into the next turn, but we don't have anything to really take advantage of that. I'm just going to go ahead and drop the star chart. Excuse me. See if we can't find something to put on the board, and go from there. And so the silence, you would typically think this is going to be good, but the castaway won't get his equipment silenced away, so it'll actually do literal nothing on this board. Just going to pick up the messenger to get a bit of cycle happening. Pesky Spectre. Not expecting that to turn up. I guess that's what happened from the coral creatures. Got it. Got it. Alright, so let's just come in and prevent the damage. We're gonna be here a while, it seems, and so I'm not in a big hurry to just be taking this face damage. We do have the Blighted Ravine in hand, which can clear out the castaway, but I'm not really excited about it. I'm looking to just pass. We'll see what opponent does. If they want to pass it back to us, then great. But otherwise, you know, just attacking with Zoe here doesn't, like, if he like gets us and just passes and Zoe doesn't put a star chart in our hand, it's not that big of a deal. All right, what you got for us? Mirai Songstress, not a card I was really putting on my radar today. And so I think we're good to drop the Blighted Ravine now. Losing Zoe's not that big of a deal. Clear out two of his dudes. Buy us a little bit more time. Does worry me a little bit dropping the faces down to 1 health. Lets it start to die to, you know, make it rain style cards, but I think we'll be okay. Blooming Cultist, bringing the elusive package at us today. Got to get this cat out of here. He's chewing on my cords. Come on, dude. Oh, you don't want to go? Whew. The struggles of FTP bust. This is another spot you could consider not playing the Zoe. If you run out of Zoes before you feel the rush, it kind of feels bad. Just putting the one dude onto the board, but we've still got one in the deck. We won't be playing this last one though. All right, star chart online. Not in a real hurry. Opponent isn't putting any pressure on us, so. It's tempting just to pick up the Trickster. Like, the Burblefish is like little scary, but we're like close to popping off, right? We're almost up to 10 mana for these Aurelion Souls, and so if we can just do a bit of blocking, it might give us the time we need to get these expensives up and online. Here's a Feel the Rush. You know what we're going to be playing next turn? It's Feel the Rush. So we just can't spend our banked mana, right? We can spend some of the mana here, but I want to make sure that we stay with the 3 banked so we get to Feel the Rush next turn. This is not a big deal. We can continue to just pass. Not worried about the Burblefish. Okay, he's doing stuff. He's bringing it. All right, that looks good. And then I gotta stop and read Trouble Bubble, right? I'm not interested in the stun side. I'm interested in the paddle star. We don't have the manas to do that. Losing Zoe here, not a big deal whatsoever. We still got the last one in hand. Definitely do want to save the last one here for the Feel the Rush, but not a big loss so far. Here it comes. Get your KDA noises ready. Boom. I was worried. I saw the Nami turn up, and I was like, "Oh fuck, we're gonna have to play against Denies today." But once I realized it was Bilgewater Varus, it's not that big of a deal. All right, got some big stats on the board. Feels good. Nothing better than putting 40 stats on the board all at the same time. I don't know what you all are out there doing these days, playing with your Seraphines and stuff, but I think this is what life's all about. Just getting that big mountain of stats on the board. But here, I don't want to attack with the Trickster into this Shelly. He's a pretty good chance that he has a couple spells he could chain off and just kill it for free. And so we're going to go ahead and just play it a little bit slow. We'll still get to flip our Aurelion Sol next turn. Looking to Buried in the Ice. This should be a pretty decent clear against the Burblefish. All the Burblefish. Elusive's coming at us. Oh, man. That's a little scary. A little scary. Definitely glad we didn't lose the Trickster here, but got a lot of potential coming at us. Might have just gotten OTK'd. He, like, 100% has to be open attacking, though. I think with, like, blocking 2 and harsh windsing 2, we should at least be okay in terms of not dying here. It's like the scary thing, though, with harsh winds is you play it and then they're able to stack more spells on it at the end. Okay, I'm just going to go with the Flash Freeze here. We should be able to get more damage prevention out of the harsh winds on the second one, right? He's going to have to start adding in more spells if he wants to try and end the game right here. And so just getting that extra width stoppage is going to be strong. Is this deck gonna have a rally? Is that something that we have to worry about? I mean, we took care of the big problem in blocking the whatchamacallit, the Shelly, so he can't just pop off a bunch of spells. But I guess he would need like a Chum the Waters to be a rally. I guess you could play technically the Blood in the Water, the Lurk rally, but I don't think we're worried about it here. Nonetheless, I'm not dropping below 5 mana, or I'm going to keep this Harsh Winds back. Alright, he's tapped out now, so we're free to do things. It's like Varus doesn't feel like the scary one, right? He doesn't have the elusive, but I feel like we should probably be removing him off of the board. Now we're safe to drop a Buried in the Ice. Looks pretty good. I think we might be okay. It's a little frightening when you kind of need some action off of your Aurelion Sol and you hit the Charger into Moonsilver, right? Those aren't exactly the high-powered plays you're looking to generate off Aurelion Sol, but it was enough in the end. We were able to achieve victory. Good job. Good job. Speaking of victories, did you all watch the Chiefs yesterday? 2 days ago? It was beautiful. It was beautiful. My best friend back in West Virginia is a 49ers fan, so getting to watch the Chiefs 49ers is always stressful because you know you're just going to get to talk insurmountable amounts of shit during the game, and then if your team managed to lose after the game. And so it was not close. It was close in the first half. In the second half, the Chiefs just steamrolled through and felt a little bit better about it. But you have to. I'm sure everyone has that style of thing in whatever their game of choice is, but it's always stressful. The Super Bowl was the worst. The Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl like 3 years ago. That's the one that like you're realistically not gonna see ever again, and the risk is high. The danger level is high in terms of what your friends might be saying to you. Still talk trash about that Super Bowl. So, but all right, in this game here, we're fine to just keep like stalling out the board. We're not in the biggest of hurries, especially since they can't level up their Ezreal if they're not targeting stuff. So the thing I'm looking at with this board is I don't want the faces of the old ones to get killed, right? I want to be able to ramp into the Targon's Peak next turn. And so I didn't want this just sitting on the board for 2 turns, giving our opponent the opportunity to score takedowns on it. And so I should have attacked with the Zoe first. I wanted the Zoe to just be like a little bit of bait for this board, but I was talking about football, and so you know how that goes. Now here, I will also say the Targon's Peak is not necessarily safe. This deck tends to play a bunch of like Aftershock style cards. Not so much Aftershock itself as much as PNZ Tellstones. And so they definitely have access to Aftershock frequently. All right. Now, the question is, do we want to spend the 3 sisters now? It's kind of guarantees that we get a big play, and it jumps us up a few percentage points on these She Who Wanders. I think I'm actually kind of on board with it. We'll still have the mana next turn to play Voices of the Old Ones if it's that bad. We better just hang on to it. I don't know. It's like we really want to hit a She Who Wanders on this board. And so kind of nice to maximize our chances of finding it. Here with the Aurelion Sol, I like Supernova, but we don't have the means to get the Celestial just yet. Let's pick up the Destroyer. Give us another spell-shielded unit. This A-Soul going down. At least takes 3 spells to do it. It's interesting, like, I'm not super worried about Aurelion Sol being on the board, but we do have this option to say, like, Entomb Aurelion Sol. I'm trying to decide if we would rather go for the Entomb or if we want to just say get the Destroyer back on board. I think I'm leaning towards just the Destroyer. The other flip side here is, though, is if we play Voices of the Old Ones, we can open with She Who Wanders. I think that's the way we want to go about it. Oh, no, we can't. We're going to lose our faces. Alright, big dude on board, though. Get them damages in. Do your thing. Do the destroying that you know you're so good at. Yeah, hitting 3 sisters is not ideal. I think we got to do a bit of cleanup here. The perk of the avalanche onto this space is if he wants to Ravenous Flock our our destroyer, it's not enough to get a kill. And I kind of feel like if he had a Scorched Earth, he would have just Scorched Earth the Targon's Peak. Get frozen, Ezreal. Gonna play combat tricks? What's going on here? Static shock with a disintegrate, sure. How close is Ezreal to flipping? He's there. He got there. That's a tough one. It's like we might need to entomb him. At least opponent is like a little bit short on cards. Oh shit! Hang on. He hasn't Mystic Shot yet this game. We should have flash frozen the Ezreal. That's bad. That's bad. Now he gets to double up the Mystic Shot and hit us for 6. Oh, it's not the first one. Okay. Still probably should have flash frozen him. That also helps us next turn in terms of spiking a She Who Wanders. Missed again. Sad day. Sad day. Very surprising he didn't have any responses there. Alright, we got the triple She Who Wanders now. They're due to hit, right? They're due to hit. It's tempting. Like, I'm curious if we shouldn't have just like entombed this Arachnoid Sentry. Give us the way to, you know, like he looks like he probably wants to open attack on this turn, right? I mean, I guess he could have been just like cheapening the stuff in his hand, but I tell you. Now we have a fresh choice, right? We can try and Ithit Stairs to clear out the board, and then that's going to give us an opportunity to feel the rush next turn, or we can just She Who Wanders and try and clear out everything. I'm just going to go with the She Who Wanders. Should get Seraphine off the board. If he has any units lurking in his hand, we'll get them cleared out. It's kind of relevant here in terms of them playing things like Reggie, and he only had 1 unit, but that's okay. I feel much safer without the big collection of units in his hand. Alright, in with Aurelion Sol. Living Legends should be close to a game ender. If assuming we don't win on this attack, and then we go into the next turn and get to Living Legends, might be a little bit safer. The only thing I'm kind of worried about is we have this Catalyst of the Aeons, and we know our opponent has like 5 spells in hand, and we haven't been able to just gain that bit of health. I don't care if he makes like Disintegrate plays here, just as long as we don't die, we should be okay. Alright, he spent the full 6 on the Shock Blast, so he's still got a, he's still got another spell in hand. Oh. That's gonna do it. It's a bummer. It's a bummer when you know you have the Catalyst. Like, that's tough, though. If the... I mean, I guess you're going to be, like, digging for the damage with the Reggie, but if they aren't able to pick up a damage spell there, it's never going to be relevant. And then their burn package is just garbage. So that's tough. We probably would have been close enough though without the Aurelion Sol. Probably should have just gained the health and counted on our 2 big dudes on board to do enough. It's all right though. First you live, then you learn. Then you live, laugh, love. That's the way it goes, right? Need to get one of those sounds from Target. Put it right back here. Live, laugh, love. Joy, cook, eat. You know, that's what life's all about. All right, these matchups are the bad ones. Up against old Gwen. Got a nice ramp package here. This is what you used to have to do to just like try and beat pirates. Is you got to be like, well, you can kind of do your thing early, but if I ramp into the peak, then I have a shot. And so that's what we're going to go for with this one. If they get kind of a slower start, then we should be off to the races. But the bummer to this hand, the real downside to what we have going on here is we don't have any expensive spells. We just picked one up in the Aurelion Sol, but turns out a 0/3 for 2 mana in Faces of the Old Ones is not a particularly good card. not the strongest thing you could be doing. But we're good now. We'll take the 3 hit from the Butler. We'll hope, well, he can. I don't think this is the kind of deck probably playing Quietus, but assuming he doesn't have a Quietus, we'll be able to Catalyst now. And then get the peak going on our next turn.
Those who kill innocents are no more than fiends.
Dropping in the tumbles. Okay. Some big damage coming at us. Not blocking this guy, that's for sure. Turns out he has Fearsome. But we don't really need the Faces of the Old Ones anymore, so it's going to be safe to throw in front of Vayne. Then hopefully we'll be able to, you know, hit some good peak spells over the next couple of turns. Aurelion Sol, you're the winner. Take the spell shielded one, I think. Maybe we should be taking that. Maybe the spell shielded one isn't the way to go, since we can like double block one of his dudes.
I assume that was not directed at me, Zoe. Abject failure.
We're just going to get brutalized by this Phantom Butler, aren't we? He's going to come in and tumble it. And then just looking at things like Trouble Bubble, it's just like, oh my god, these cards are so bad. We just can't be the aggro here. I assume he's probably going to tumble. Say rip Aurelion Sol. That's brutal, right? That has to be the most brutal feeling that there is, that we drop our turn 5 Aurelion Sol and then just have to trade him for a Phantom Butler. Sad day to be a dragon. Enter a post into Zoe, okay. But yeah, it's that's the real bummer of stuns these days, right? If you're wanting to stun, and he's like, "Oh, cool, I got this tumble," and it just doesn't do anything. And fuck me, I kept Zoe in our hand because I didn't want her just immediately dying to the Blighted Ravine, and of course that's the one we hit for our 0-cost card on the round. I guess we were just kind of due in this game, right? given all things considered. In what happened in the previous turn with our Aurelion Sol just getting manhandled. I think it's probably fair. Sure. Alright, that's as good as we can do for the round. We're not dead. That's always a perk, always an upside. It that stares does not kill anything. That's pretty cool. What a day. What a day for these cards. Vengeance, alright. Just completely getting manhandled. That was brutal. That was brutal. Alright, next battle. I must say, Targon's Peak was way overpowered there. I could see why one would think that that is right on the cusp of breaking constructed, right? Narrowly getting defeated by Seraphine. You know, misplays aside, it's still a very close game, and then just getting straight domed by the by the number 2 deck of the format. But hey, there's too much RNG tied into the Targon's Peak, okay? We better nerf this thing, because it's taken over the format. Wow. Alright, on to the next one, though. Our boy Legion Rearguard. If you need to see some Legion Rearguard hype, if you don't regularly follow all of our work, our previous video, we took a triple Rearguard lineup into the gauntlet. Spoiler alert, came out victorious. Pretty fun, pretty fun. It's like, are we quite willing to lose our faces to a Make It Rain? I think I'll take the 2 damage here. See if we spike an AoE. Did. Still lose the faces to the Make It Rain if that's the case, but we'll get the mana out of next turn. Lets us ramp into the Targon's Peak still. Do we not? We not getting? I had it in my head we were getting an extra mana there. Not the case. Not the case. So let's see what opponent does. We don't want to play Blighted Ravine this turn. We want to play Blighted Ravine next turn so that it tries to clear out the opponent's board right before their attack token starts. And then we're going to get to respond a little bit better, right? If he just sees us play Blighted Ravine here, he's just going to drop this Misfortune, probably not lose any units. But it's now he's kind of in this spot where it's like, you got a Swain. If you don't got a Swain, you're probably not adding anything. Now, granted, Swain would be fairly good here. And that's kind of how it feels like his hand is sequencing out. But Swain's very easy for us to deal with the Flash Freeze. It's even tempting to just take it. Like, if he's going to open attack here, I'm pretty sure I'm okay with that. Which is a 7-9? Kind of want to get this Targon's Peak down. Let's see what he does. Let's see if he adds another unit or not. Eye of Nagakaboros. So that's 11, which would drop us to 8. Okay. A minute. What you got for us, game? That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Just hit those field of rushes. We were due after hitting Zoe in the last one, so it's only fair. All right, now let's see if opponent adds in the Leviathan now. I think the Leviathan's, pretty manageable. Let's us then Sunburst the Swain, and then he doesn't get the opening stuns on the following turn. Interesting. Like, what's their... The removal suite doesn't typically have things like Scorched Earth. It's typically just Ravenous Flocks. I'm surprised to see him come in and pop the spell shield on Aurelion Sol. Maybe he just doesn't have anything else to do.
Hello, new best friend.
Now, the downside here in Sunbursting Swain is if he has another Swain, he still gets to add it to the board. I think it's okay. The big one here was like worrying about the Leviathan coming in. If he just adds another Swain next turn and we're ready with the Flash Freeze, it's not as big of a deal. Like he's gonna like Ravenous Flock our face. Not Flock, the Noxus Blast. That's where things get a little tricky in terms of did we take too much damage. He's got, well, he might have hit Make It Rain off of the Zoe. Not Make It Rain off of the Zap, not the Zoe.
Wonder at my creations.
Alright, dragons and stuff on board. The Crescent Strike. Not a real high-powered one, but it's okay. It's like if he opens here, we're taking 0 damage, and if he adds a card, we get to play Ithid Stairs. I think we're in an incredibly good spot. He can now Ravenous Flock our Zoe, but it's not a big deal. And I'm worried about face damage here. I'm not worried about keeping our units. Yep.
Explosives prime.
All the big boys. Jeez. Alright, well, I'm not going to play the Crescent Strike. We are going to take a point of damage from this Saboteur, but now he's got the additional units. Cool. Good stuff.
Now they'll pay attention.
It's fairly tempting to drop a She Who Wanders. It does clear out most of the stuff in his deck. And then we should be able to kill anything left over with the Skies Descend. It's just like the width coming out of Field of Rush feels a little bit safer if we're going to Skies Descend. But I guess if we're at that point, we're kind of like coin flipping to hit our 0-cost Skies Descend. So it's like if we feel the rush and it hits the 0, then we're going to be in a bit of a pickle. We got a Noxus Blast right now. We'll take all the units out of his hand. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. That's how you win a game right there. Oh my god. Okay. Play into your routes. Play into your routes. Now, again, we could have prevented like 7 damage on that one Swain turn, but that's a stretch because then you don't find yourself in the space to where you can add Targon's Peaks later on, and so I think that was still pretty safe. Just a kind of sad collection of events that took us down to that lethal. We prevented pretty much every damage we could outside of that one turn. All right, our last battle up against Seraphine Victor. Let's see how this one goes. Brutal collection of events on the day. This is one of these things, though, where it's like I start considering playing like 2 Voices of the Old Ones, because they can't come out and kill us, right? They don't have the opportunities to come out for aggression, and this gives us the space to where we don't necessarily have to draw Targon's Peak to pop off, right? If we ramp from Catalyst to the Aeons into Voices of the Old Ones and have the +3 mana, we can just play expensive spells. Now, it's not the same as playing a 0-cost, 10-cost card and then playing a second 10-cost card, right? But it still gives us the opportunities for those really high-powered plays. Maybe it's safer to just say you're never beating Vayne, and cut out some of the flash freeze package. Is opponent even here? Are we gonna move on to game 6? Get an extra game in. Got a dirty phone in the toilet right now. Gripping battle. Loads of excitement. All right, faces it is. Assuming it doesn't get blown up, it does let you play the Catalyst on turn 4. Got these expensive bros in hand. All right, seems like opponent's got the dirty phone. They playing at work, queued up. They said, "Oh shit, it's FTP bust." They dropped their phone from the excitement. It happens, you know. I don't wish it upon anyone, but you know, sometimes you get got. All right, I'm calling that one a victory. F those stupid decks, right? We'll still get one more game in. The final battle. What do we got? Some burn deck? Alright. I assume it's gonna be burn deck. Let's see if he bamboozles us or not. I think I'm gonna get rid of the flash freezes here and just look for AoE. I don't even really want Zoe either. Didn't find it. Scary stuff. It's just like your Zoe does an incredible small amount in this matchup. It might be okay on turn 1 if I assume he's playing like this really aggressive Elise Spiders deck, but like on turn 1 if he plays Legion Saboteur, then Zoe is good, but like against Rearguard she's bad, against Annie she's bad, and then as they move into their 2-drop space, they have Elise and a bunch of other fearsomes, and so Zoe just like never does anything. So I don't think a flash freeze is worthy of a keep either. We just got to come in and try and find that ramp. Like, again, this is the way that you used to try and handle pirates, in that you would ramp early and then get the peak down on turn 4. And then with the peak down, you could potentially high roll and just start to crush a little bit, but not how this hand is looking. We hit the Blighted Ravine, which is nice, but we're going to be struggling otherwise. These harsh winds are looking pretty good in the face of Annie. I'd like to harsh winds your Annie, please. Just do stone nothing. There's the Conservatory. I was curious if this was going to be an actual Conservatory deck and just using Elise as an early game play, or if it was going to be more of a control decky type number. Sure. The Scorched Earth comes at us, but not out of the Seraphine decks. So I at least feel a little bit safer now. We're taking a bit of damage. I'm not going to flash freeze any of this. I want to get the Blighted Ravine down now so we can Targon's Peak next turn. Alright. Alright. But now, if you like swing back to that game we lost against Pirates, this is why these spaces are why it was so important to be able to play Targon's Peak on that turn. We took all the damage from Swain. Right now, as we roll into this next round, if we want to play Targon's Peak, we're just not doing we're doing absolutely nothing this turn, right? We're adding the Peak. It's not going to deal any damage. Maybe we'll be okay. We do have a double flash freeze for next turn, so we could prevent the majority of the damage coming at us. But This is exactly why I took that that damage against Swain. So we could get the Targon's Peak down there, and now on this turn, we're able to see if we can't spike in at the stairs or spike a Field of Rush. But we might be okay here now. We're going to take a bit of damage, but we're going to get to Field of Rush. It's like we're taking 4. This doesn't strike me as a deck that's going to have a bunch of, like, it's not going to be a Decimate deck, right? I'm sure he will have some amount of answers to what we're bringing down with the Field of Rush, but I don't think we're going to get burned out here. Especially seeing the Catalog of Regrets come down. Actually, let's do this. Let's drop Zoe. I want to get her out of our hand, so we're maximized on hitting Aurelion Sol, and then we'll still get another one out of our deck with the Field of Rush. The kind of bummer for the round is we have that the Ithit Stairs here ready to obliterate the landmarks, and we just can't get the Conservatory before it's gonna pop. It's a little unfortunate. Okay, this is fine. He's down to 2 cards in hand, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Aurelion Sol get hit with a Vengeance here. But this is starting to turn around. This looks okay. He's not hitting the important cards off of the catalog. Right, the catalog is on Go Hard or Vile Feast. All right, we hit the second peak. I guess it's okay if we want to clear out his catalog with the Ithit Stairs, and we can follow up with the second Targon's Peak. I think I'm okay with that. Alright, my concern now is if he's going to be playing cards like Nox and Guillotine. Like, he's played 2 Scorched Earths already. I don't imagine he's going to play both Scorched Earth and Nox and Guillotine. But, if he's putting damage onto our Aurelion Souls, it could definitely be on the menu. Let's just give it a turn. Our hand doesn't really do that much, and I want to see if we can't spike an expensive out of Aurelion Sol. Okay, next one will be Pack Your Bags. He's only got 1 card in hand now, right? So we do have to worry about the 5 damage AoE coming at us, but maybe it is safe. Famous last words. Let's just hold off a turn, hold off a round.
Now they'll pay attention.
Maybe it's not that bad. Alright, so I guess the other kind of thing to worry about would be a Disintegrate. We do have some potential for our Aurelion Sol to just get killed here, but I don't think we can worry about it at this point. We'll just come in and prevent maximum damage. We got 6 coming at us from Tibbers, or 5 coming... Oh, that is 6 from Annie, isn't it? Well, let's at least block the Tibbers. If we're going to come in and worry about Disintegrate, if he disintegrates our Aurelion Sol off of Tibbers block, then we at least kill the Tibbers. to where if he disintegrates our Aurelion Sol off of an Annie block, we're going to lose out on that.
Rule the skies.
The fuck, Commander Ladros, really? We're going to lose out on that. That kill on the unit, since the Annie Flame Strike thing will kill her off. Okay, well, we're not dead to the Commander Ladros. He's only going to drop us to 2. Man. Oh, we're dead to the pack your bags? All right. Oh, man, what a day. What a day. So it's tough, man. That was a pretty rough and brutal set of games. No, don't get me wrong, I had a good time with it, but that was a real struggle for this deck. And so, you know, take it how you want. I understand the reasoning and the nerf to Targon's Peak. It doesn't strike me as something that people, you know, bitched about a whole lot. The way I always kind of felt like whenever I was playing against the Targon's Peak was you just kind of like, well, there wasn't anything I could do, right? You know, if your opponent hit you with a peak on turn 4 and then they spiked the She Who Wanders, it wasn't like so much of a feels bad moment. It was just kind of like, okay, whatever. Like, yeah, what am I supposed to do about that? And so, like, I get the sentiment there, but it does feel kind of mind blowing to say we're going to nerf Targon's Peak and we're going to nerf concurrent timelines due to the RNG aspects involved. And then here's Seraphine, here's the Manifest of 5, here's the equip manifest thing. It's just like so much RNG that was baked into this next set that you're like, oh really? I wonder if the same person pushing through the design of the new cards has ever had lunch with Ruben Zoo or whoever manages the whoever manages the nerf list thing, because that's like just such a polar opposite. And you know, this is way too much RNG in Targon's Peak. Now, welcome to the Darken Saga domination. So it's mind blowing to me. But nonetheless, I had fun. These were still a good set of games. This is a deck that you could probably pretty reasonably do your dailies with, or if you want to take in the normals, I'm sure it would be fine. It's probably not a spectacular ladder climber right now, given that it's so weak to all of the Vayne decks. It's weak to things like Hecarim Zed. But if we catch a round of nerfs, today, we'll see. I'm not expecting nerfs today. They usually only emergency patch 2 weeks out from the new set, and I don't feel like that level of hatred that we saw towards like Azir Irelia really exists in this set. But Seraphine is like 30% of the meta with the 60% win rate, so something's going to be coming. They usually don't have that quick of a turnaround, so we'll see. But nonetheless, I had fun with this. I hope you had fun too, because that is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I hope that RNG ramp was the amount of dice rolling you needed. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way. Excuse me, and had a good time watching. This is Busted Me. Thank you for being here.